The Israeli government has begun preparations for the return of all hostages held by Hamas, who are expected to be released tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians continue to return to their homes, or what's left of them, in central and northern Gaza as part of this ceasefire agreement. CTV's Heather Wright joins us now from Tel Aviv. Heather, thanks for being with us. What's the latest there? A long-awaited moment that we're about to see unfold.
Well, certainly long awaited, more than 2 years that Israelis have been waiting for the return of these hostages. We know that 20 hostages that are alive, they are going to be brought back to Israel sometime, we are told, in the morning hours, along with the remains of a number of deceased hostages. Now, it's not clear how many yet. We do know that Hamas does not know where some of them are buried inside Gaza. But once this process begins, we are told that the living hostages, they will be taken into Israel. They will be taken to a military base in the south, reunited with their families, and then taken to hospitals that have been busy preparing for their arrival, getting everything in order, as they don't know necessarily the condition that some of these hostages are going to be in as they return after 2 years in captivity.
And what about aid going into Gaza? What are you learning on that front?
Well, we are told, and we've seen pictures of trucks at the Rafah crossing in Egypt starting to get into Gaza. There's a long line of trucks waiting. They've been waiting for several days now, but we are told that those trucks are beginning to get in. And of course, this is much needed aid. As part of this ceasefire deal, we know that 600 trucks are supposed to be allowed to come into the enclave every day. They will be carrying fuel, food, medicine, water, really the basic necessities that many in Gaza have not had for months now, as we know that there was essentially this siege, this blockade of aid getting into the enclave for many, many months. And we spoke with a doctor working in Deir al-Balah, the center of the enclave today, saying the aid that is starting to come in has not yet gotten to her hospital, and that basic illnesses, sicknesses that are treatable in many countries, including Canada, they might end up killing people in her hospital because they are simply lacking in those resources. So the aid is very much needed. It's starting to get in, but what we're hearing still on the ground in Gaza is that even though there is this ceasefire, it hasn't changed very much for them. The bombardment sure has stopped. They are still living in a dire humanitarian situation, returning to homes, as you mentioned, that are gone or reduced to rubble.
A central player in this ceasefire, of course, has been U.S. President Donald Trump. He is headed to the Middle East today, expected to visit Israel. I wonder what you could tell us, what kind of a welcome you're expecting there.
Well, my guess is it's going to be a very warm welcome. We were here at Hostage Square yesterday when Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, and Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, his son-in-law and daughter, spoke to this crowd, and there were jubilant chants of "Thank you, Trump." A lot of Israelis really giving him the credit for getting this deal done. So he is expected to be greeted with a lot of love from Israel when he arrives here tomorrow. It's being described as an in-and-out visit. He's not going to be here very long. He's going to arrive in Israel, head to the Knesset in Jerusalem. He's going to address the Knesset, that's Israel's parliament. And then from there, he will go to Egypt to sign the formal treaty that is this ceasefire and participate as well in a peace summit with other leaders from the region and a number of Arab states. And so then he will head back to Washington. So it will be a quick visit, but certainly a meaningful one for the U.S. president, as he really is being credited by a lot of Israelis with getting this ceasefire deal over the finish line and bringing these hostages home.
So some sensitive, some closely watched developments we are expecting in the Middle East. Heather Wright, we appreciate you being there for us.
Thanks.